A successful match marrow donor is invited by her friend to participate in a drum and bell performance. An Australian police officer brings his wife to Jing Si Abode to become the master's disciple. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. We begin our program today with the Two Buddha Day ceremony in Hsinchu, Taiwan, where volunteers organized the tea ceremony and promoted vegetarianism and environmental protection to the participants.
Although the Buddha Day ceremony starts in the afternoon, Tzu volunteers have arrived before 8 o'clock in the morning and started to set up the venue at the plaza in front of the Hsinchu County Hall. This year, the Buddha Day ceremony in Zhubei has changed from the community to the outdoor plaza like before.
Over the past few years, the small Buddha Day ceremony has been limited by the participant numbers and location, so we should be reminded of our initial aspiration. The most important thing is that we must be happy to take responsibility and participate in the ceremony, so that way we can influence others with our joyful hearts.
Before the sunset, the participants cleanse their minds through the Buddha Day ceremony. To celebrate the Chai celebration, volunteers host stands near the ceremony venue to promote vegetarian diet and environmental protection.
In my home, we eat lots of fish, but eventually we'll adopt the vegetarian diet Tzu brought us, and the natural food has slowly changed our diet.
Near the Hsinchu Science Park, Tzu volunteers hosted a small but cozy Buddha Day ceremony with some activities to express filial piety.
My daughter gave me tea herself, and I feel very happy to be able to bring them to the venue. A lot of dedicated people are doing this, which makes an impact on the community.
We hope the tea ceremony today won't be so serious, and we hope to improve the interactions between parents and children so they can understand how hard it is for their parents to take care of them. This will inspire their respect and gratitude toward their parents.
To promote the idea of protecting the earth, Tzu incorporated the trendy table games to bring little children along to do recycling.
Through this activity, we hope the participants, especially the children, can understand how to love our earth with real actions and practice recycling in daily life.
Celebrating Buddha's birthday by honoring our parents, we should be grateful to their love and be thankful to the Buddha.
This year's Chai celebration ceremony will be held at Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall in Taipei on May 13th. Xiaoshan, who is a successful match bone marrow donor, was encouraged by her friend to participate in the drum and bell performance at this event.
With every practice, Xiaoshan blends in with the group, and you can see from her eyes that she is quite devoted to the performance.
The event celebrates the Buddha and also our parents, so it's actually a very meaningful event. When we play this solemn music, we accompany with just a few simple actions. One naturally wants to do it well, as we feel a bit of responsibility.
The decision to join the bell and drum performance for the Chai celebration ceremony is inspired by her virtuous heart.
Because Xiaoshan donated marrow at the end of March, we began to have contact with her, and she wanted to spread love. At the time, I thought that she would be a good match for Tzu. Luckily, in early April, there was a bell and drum practice, and I quickly introduced her to this group.
After deciding whether or not to donate marrow, I was hesitant for a brief period, and I asked Tzu about this activity. She gave me this video to look at, and when I finished viewing, I was able to clearly make a decision.
16 years ago, an inadvertent blood test created a different fate. After knowing each other for 5 years, they both share similar interests, such as donating marrow and participating in this drum and bell performance. They take the time to practice and make every action perfect.
After inviting her to join, I thought that she was my responsibility, as I decided to accompany her. I don't want her to get injured, like hurting her knee or other joints, so I remind her about this.
When you join a new environment or such a group, having someone that you're familiar with or whom you trust leads you to worry a lot less.
Accompanying each other is the cornerstone of this friendship. These two people are eager to grow up together and do even more good deeds.
Each year on Buddha's birthday, Tzu Chi volunteers from around the world will hold a Buddha Day ceremony simultaneously. In Africa, although there are not enough resources and people there are usually not Buddhist, the local volunteers still organize the ceremony every year to worship the Buddha, showing their solemn spirit. The Buddha Day ceremony in Africa has never been restricted to the venue, and there are no religious barriers either. The year of 2016 marked the 50th anniversary of Tzu Chi. While global Tzu Chi volunteers celebrated this special day, 500 local volunteers in Mozambique pray for world peace through Buddha bathing and pilgrimages. Mozambique, whose main religious beliefs are Catholicism and Christianity, has been synchronizing with global Tzu Chi volunteers to hold the annual Buddha Day ceremony in May since 2013. Due to lack of local resources, the ceremony in Mozambique cannot be organized as solemnly as that in Taiwan, but local volunteers decorate the venue with sincere hearts. The devout hearts of African volunteers for worshiping the Buddha can also be seen in Zimbabwe. In 2013, the Buddha Day ceremony was hosted in Zimbabwe for the first time. The fragrance water was held by eco-friendly utensils, and the Buddha bathing platform was a bit simple. Back then, many local volunteers participated in the sutra adaptation performances. They overcame language barriers to show their solemn spirit. In the following year, local volunteers also integrated the Buddhist pilgrimage into the ceremony, using chopsticks and bowls as the Buddhist musical instruments. The Dhamma principles that African volunteers have adopted were inherited from South Africa. After the 40th anniversary of Tzu Chi, overseas volunteers hold the Buddha Day ceremony in their communities, where they invite local residents to bathe and worship the Buddha. In Durban, local volunteers take advantage of their home visitations in the countryside to lead Tzu Chi care recipients to attend the ceremony. They also spend 3 years performing the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings. Durban volunteers' perseverance in Buddhism has also extended to Swaziland and Botswana through transnational care. Since 2014, volunteers in the two countries have been holding the Buddha Day ceremony along with rice distributions or home visitations. The compassion of the Buddha lights up Africa and brings hope to the country. In the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis, Tzu Chi volunteers have carried out disaster relief plans in Myanmar. After Tzu Chi volunteers distribute rice seedlings to help farmers, one farmer has inspired more than 400 villagers to join Tzu Chi's rice-saving movement. Meanwhile, in Bago, through local volunteers have led the community residents to cook porridge for patients weekly.
From the 14th to 16th centuries, Bago was once the country's Buddhist faith center. At 5 o'clock in the morning, there's still moonlight. In this village, which is 3 hours right away from Yangon, many villagers are still sleeping. However, there's light in this house. After the volunteer crosses the street, her van has arrived. As the van races ahead, there's the sound of iron bars sliding against each other. However, over here, the volunteers are taking their time preparing food. The volunteer is cooking a total of 650 eggs mindfully. In Myanmar, eggs are considered pricey and is a nourishment for impoverished families. He divides the eggs into batches to be cooked, as he's the only one doing this task. For one day a week, they have to take on different tasks to cook porridge. As they're watching the fire, people across from them are preparing the ingredients. The volunteers mindfully place the porridge into the car. The 2 buckets of porridge is the lunch for nearly 1,000 people. The volunteers race against time to deliver the porridge.
About 200 Dharma masters make instant rice in Taiwan. Over here, we deliver the porridge.
Bago City Hospital has nearly 500 doctors and nurses, in addition to more than 800 patients. However, there are only 500 hospital beds. Therefore, it is a bit crowded. The hot porridge is in high demand at the hospital.
I told everyone the porridge is very good. It is good for the patient's health.
Enjoying the porridge not only lessens the patient's financial burden, it is also good for their health.
Have you tried it? The rice is made by Taiwan's master Zheng Yan and her disciples. They created instant rice. This was delivered to us from the airports in Taiwan. We can prepare this in half an hour.
The child is eager to enjoy the porridge. As the volunteers give out the porridge, they warm up the hearts of the patients.
Tzu does not trouble anyone. The volunteers take the initiative to make porridge and deliver it here. Therefore, we are very happy and want to continue this.
Led by 3 local volunteers, some residents shoulder the responsibility of preparing the porridge for the hospital.
Be willing to do and be happy to bear. I'm able to continue this work because of this phrase.
Yun San Ting of Shuanagun village has led more than 400 residents to save up rice to help people in need.
It is very convenient to use this light.
This light is convenient. It is hard to study using this candle.
The farmers started a rice-saving movement after Tzu distributed rice seedlings. The volunteers have also brought in solar panels. With an average annual income of $1,000, the people of Myanmar are considered low income. Despite that, Charities AIDS Foundation has found that Myanmar has topped the global index of charitable behavior, proving that generosity is not limited to the wealthy.
Australian police officer Jose Alonso, who is also a Tzu volunteer, brought his wife to come to the Jing Si Abode in Hualien, Taiwan, to become the master's disciple. This couple has also pledged to spread Tzu's great love in Australia.
触碰满到那个互动，所以他很小心。
Taking out the fuel coin bank carefully from the plastic bag, this is the love that was collected from the city of Ipswich, Australia. The person who carefully keeps it is a local police officer, Jose Alonso.
Calm feeling that the master gives you. That's how I felt the last 2 times when I came here. So I thought if I bring my wife and get her to experience what I've experienced.
The reason for Jose to come to Taiwan for the 3rd time is because he started to come into contact with Tzu Chi after the severe flooding took place in Brisbane, Australia in 2011. He has turned from a receiver to a giver who has also influenced his relatives and friends around him.
All we saw in the distance was the white pants, and we sort of thought they were probably a little bit crazy at that point when we had so much mud around. And ever since then, they helped us to rebuild our house, and since then we've tried to give back.
His wife, who is also a police officer, has also decided to become Master Zheng Yan's disciple. The master delivers the English version of Buddhist sutras to the couple, hoping they can not only continue to cultivate their compassion, but also nurture immeasurable seeds of love in Australia. In celebration of the International Nurses Day on May 12th, we introduce you to some issues associated with the nursing career. Before becoming a competent nurse, other than going through the clinical training, one also needs to have the right attitude toward patients. Here is our report.
Time is up. They must immediately walk to the next clinic. In just a few minutes, one must complete a long evaluation while doing one injection at the same time. The OSCE testing system got 8 stops, and these nursing students are nervous about it because through reality imitation, one skill is tested completely.
Once they enter the work sphere, mistakes are not allowed because sometimes it matters to others' life. Therefore, they must have many practices in the class. Through the situation we decide, we will make sure they have the ability needed before we let them start a real job.
How hard is it to become a nurse? According to statistics, there are about 14,000 nursing students every year from technical schools or universities. About 40% of them can pass the license test. There are also a group of post-baccalaureate nursing students preparing to fulfill their dream.
I feel that everyone can find a suitable position in the field of nursing. That's why I'm here, because there are many options.
For most nursing students, 68% of them will work in the hospital. However, from medical center to local hospitals, each nurse needs to take care of more than 9 patients in average. It's the passion that's sustaining them.
When you can help the patient yourself and make some changes, then you'll feel that this job is much more than making money. You're really contributing to the society.
The main reason we can't be replaced is because we will build a very close connection with the patients and give them solid care.
During the emergency simulating teaching, one group of students are practicing realistically while the other group are discussing with the instructor through the screen simultaneously. However, due to the aging population and increasing seriously ill patients, there are about 2% of nurses leaving the job each year.
Population aging lets many people that need care stay at home or in the community. Many of our nursing professionals leaving the hospital can actually continue to work, so we wish to invest on the house nurses.
Nursing students not only learn professional skills, some schools also focus on the humanistic culture, which can be integrated into the clinical trainings.
Professional is very important. However, how should we prepare a right attitude for the students? If he or she feels being cared for, in the future, when they are facing their patients, they will be able to give them their care.
I like to see the patients stand tall and face their sickness bravely with a positive mind, because we're able to be there for them and accompany them through it.
Nursing is a traditional subject in school, but is facing a changing period currently as the practice rate is affected by the aging society, as it will also impact the future of medical care.
Next, we introduce you to a special type of mother, Wang Yuxin. She's 37 years old now and has 5 children. She says she only expected to have a 3rd child, but had triplets instead. She believes that she has been blessed with 5 times the love.
来换鞋子啊！
好，等一下，走开。
这猪坏掉。那你骑那台啊？那台粉色的呢？
This noisy environment isn't a kindergarten, but actually the home of 37-year-old Wang Yuxin. We aren't finished. With a total of 5 children, the eldest 7 years old and another 4 years old, and triplets which are 3 years old, makes leaving the house very difficult.
At the time, we only planned to have our 3rd child, but it turned out to be triplets. I really shouldn't laugh about this, but at the beginning, I thought about how much money I would need to spend.
It's not just a question of money, but these parents only have 4 hands, so how can they take care of 5 children? This is a very difficult matter.
We try to see who lags behind, but we're surprised that everyone is growing at the same speed. We measure each week and see that they have normal growth.
同样的速度长大，每一周都是正常速度长大。每个人喝5口哦，
再喝2口。2口了。
My family said just have as many children as you can, and everyone will cooperate and help out. They will coordinate the schedule.
These 5 little mouse need to be fed, and each portion needs to be multiplied by 5 times. However, this family also have 5 times the love. This little angel can also be a little devil. Despite all the hardships and tears, it is ultimately worth it.
With so many brothers and sisters, we are never bored as we have someone to play with and don't need someone to accompany them.
要一直陪着他。
很吵，还有嘞，
玩别人小孩不会有回馈，就是。
Playing with other people's children doesn't yield you anything, but when you are looking after your own children at night, and when they're close to you, even you have worked hard all day, it is suddenly worth it.
就是一整天辛苦忙也是，就是这样子啊，就是值得这样子啊。
Despite the hard work and noise of raising all 5 of these children, these parents say that the love they receive make it all worthwhile.
Tima's medical professionals and volunteers from Johor Bahru, Malaysia, went to a nursing home to give seniors a health checkup, as well as bring love and warmth to them. That's all the time we have for today. Goodbye.